Your business is not failing because of lack of effort. It's failing because your brain is protecting you from discomfort, from uncertainty, from growth, and the more comfortable you become, the harder it is to escape. This trap is subtle. You wake up busy, you're working, you're trying, but nothing is really changing. Income stays the same, opportunities feel distant, and somehow weeks turn into months. You're not stuck because you're lazy. You're stuck because you've made comfort your default. Psychologically, the brain prioritizes familiar safety over long-term reward. Once your current situation becomes survivable, even if it's frustrating, your brain labels it as safe. So it quietly resists risky decisions, visibility, pricing higher, saying no, starting over. Comfort doesn't feel like a trap. It feels like stability. That's why it's dangerous. Here's how the comfort trap shows up in real business decisions. You keep clients that drain you because predictable money feels safer than uncertain growth. Even when they disrespect your time, even when they pay late, even when working with them makes you resent your own business. You tell yourself, at least it's consistent. You avoid changing strategy because starting again feels exhausting. Your current approach isn't working. You know it. But pivoting means admitting the last 6 months were a detour. So you double down on what's familiar, hoping effort alone will change the outcome. You delay bold moves because now isn't the right time. Launching that offer, posting that content, reaching out to that person, there's always a reason to wait. And waiting always feels more rational than risking rejection. So you optimize inside a cage you never question. You tweak, you adjust, you improve small things, but you never challenge the fundamental structure keeping you small. And over time, comfort turns into stagnation. Not suddenly, slowly. So slowly you don't notice until you look back and realize nothing changed. The worst part isn't financial, it's psychological. When comfort controls you, something shifts inside. Urgency dies. That fire you had at the beginning, the one that made you work late, take risks, try new things, it fades. Not because you don't care anymore, but because your nervous system has adapted to low stakes. When nothing feels urgent, nothing moves. Ambition dulls. You stop dreaming about what's possible. You start managing what's tolerable. Your goals shrink to match your current capacity instead of expanding your capacity to match your goals. And you don't even notice it happening. Self-trust weakens. This one is silent but devastating. Every time you say you'll do something bold and don't follow through, every time you set a boundary and break it, every time you choose comfort over commitment, you teach yourself that you can't be trusted. So when an opportunity appears, you hesitate. Not because you're incapable, but because you've learned not to believe yourself. You stop believing momentum is possible, not because you failed, but because you stayed comfortable too long. And when momentum feels impossible, effort feels pointless. That's when people quietly give up on themselves, while still working. They show up, they stay busy, but internally, they've already surrendered. They're just going through the motions, hoping something external will change their situation, but nothing external changes until something internal does. People who break out don't wait for motivation. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't wait for confidence. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They deliberately disrupt comfort, and they do it systematically. They create pressure. Pressure isn't the enemy. Absence of pressure is. They set public deadlines. They tell people what they're building. They commit before they're ready. Not recklessly, but intentionally. Because external accountability creates internal urgency. They add deadlines. Open-ended goals don't get done. I'll launch when it's ready means never. I'll reach out when I feel confident means never. So they pick a date, mark it, and work backward. The deadline becomes the forcing function that comfort can't negotiate with. They increase exposure. Staying invisible feels safe. But invisible businesses don't grow. So they post, they share, they put their work in front of people before it feels perfect. Not because they're fearless, but because they know obscurity is a bigger risk than judgment. They choose discomfort on purpose. This is the key shift. Most people avoid discomfort and occasionally tolerate it when forced. People who grow seek it out. They price higher before they feel worth it. They say no to bad fit clients, even when money is tight. They pivot strategies, even when it means starting over. They do the thing that makes their stomach turn, and they do it repeatedly until their nervous system learns that discomfort doesn't mean danger. Psychologically, they retrain their brain to associate discomfort with progress, not danger. And once that association flips, growth accelerates, not linearly, exponentially, because suddenly the things that used to stop you become the things that move you forward. The hard conversation becomes the breakthrough. The uncomfortable launch becomes the turning point. The risky pivot becomes the unlock. Not because they became fearless, but because they stopped obeying comfort. They stopped letting comfort have veto power over their decisions. And when comfort loses authority, momentum returns. So how do you know if you're in the comfort trap? Ask yourself these questions. When was the last time you did something in your business that genuinely scared you? Not stressed you, scared you? If it's been more than a month, you're probably playing too safe. What decision have you been delaying? Not because it's wrong, but because it's uncomfortable. That client you need to fire, that price you need to raise, that pivot you need to make. If you know what it is, you're already in the trap. Are you busy or are you building? Busy protects comfort. Building challenges it. Busy keeps you in motion without direction. Building requires you to choose a direction and commit, even when it's uncertain. What would you do differently if comfort wasn't a factor? If you couldn't fail? If judgment didn't matter? If money wasn't tight? That answer reveals what comfort is costing you. Because here's the truth. Every business plateau is a comfort plateau in disguise. You're not stuck because of market conditions. You're not stuck because of the economy. You're not stuck because you lack information. You're stuck because you're optimizing for comfort instead of growth. And the longer that continues, the more normal it feels. If your business feels stuck, ask yourself this: what comfort am I protecting? Is it the comfort of not being judged? Is it the comfort of predictable income, even if it's too low? Is it the comfort of not having to start over? Is it the comfort of staying small enough to manage alone? Because the longer you protect it, the more it costs you. Not just in revenue, in time, in self-trust, in the version of yourself you're capable of becoming. Growth begins the moment comfort loses authority. Not when you feel ready, not when conditions are perfect, not when fear disappears. When you decide that staying comfortable is more expensive than the cost of change, that's the moment everything shifts. So stop asking, how do I feel confident enough to take this risk? Start asking, what is staying here actually costing me? Because once you see the real cost of comfort, you won't be able to unsee it. And that's when movement becomes inevitable.